What's going on, friends? It is good to be back. We got a whole new setup here, but we're not here to talk about that today. What we're here to talk about today is the Twin Cam 96. There's a lot of things about the Twin Cam 96 that a lot of people won't tell you, and there's a lot of misconceptions about the Twin Cam 96. There's really not a whole lot wrong with a Twin Cam 96 powered bike. In fact, there's very few things that you really have to correct, and honestly, they really are kind of leaps and bounds over the Twin Cam 88 in a lot of ways. So guys, for today's video, please excuse the lighting. We're still messing with things. We're still trying to get things kind of set up over here in this new garage. So, been a lot of changes since I last saw you guys a couple weeks ago. Obviously, I'm not in the same place anymore, but that's not what we came here for. Let's talk about the Twin Cam 96 and take a look at some of the things on the 96 that make it a lot better than the 88s. So for starters, number one, when it comes to a Twin Cam 96, we don't necessarily have to worry about the cam chest so much. You've already got the updated oil pump, you've already got the updated hydraulic tensioners, and not to mention, you don't run into as many hurdles if you're trying to put a cam in a Twin Cam 96 as you would with an 88, where you get into those conversion cams and some of those disappearing parts that if you bought a used 88, they got a receipt, but somehow they mysteriously disappeared from inside the bike as it changed hands throughout its life. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoy the video today, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, the one thing I like about the Twin Cam 96, yes, they do command a bit more money used, but the thing with the Twin Cam 96 is generally there are less things to worry about on a 96 than you would have than an 88. And not only that, the 96 compared to a 103, the price difference is a pretty decent gap. Now don't get me wrong, the Twin Cam 96 does have some things that it got a bad rap for, like the fuel injection. There's really nothing wrong with the fuel injection on there. Yes, I understand it doesn't have the sound that the carbureted 88s or the Evo made, but the biggest misconception that everybody got with the fuel injection there is like, oh, it runs too hot and this and that. Well, honestly, from the factory, it did. It ran way too hot. But you got a tuner on there, and you get those temperatures down a little bit in the engine, and not everybody wants to mess with a carburetor. And I know Harley's fuel injection got a really bad rap with the old Magnati Morelli that was on the Evos, and then some of the early Twin Cams. Definitely stay away from that. But the reason why the 96's fuel injection got such a bad rap was because that's when they went to the closed-loop exhaust system with the O2 sensors. This made it run at stoichiometric at 14.7. Now, this was just something at the time nobody was really used to. We weren't used to bikes running that lean, and that bad rap has just stuck with the 96 ever since. But you get a good tuner in there, and not to mention, finding a good tuner like the Power Vision, or if you even want to use a FP3, these are much more readily available and easier to find for anything that's 2007 or newer. So guys, I know I've done some videos on what's wrong with the Twin Cam 96 and the things that you need to fix, but I really want to make this video about the things that are right with the Twin Cam 96. Now, love it or hate it, the Twin Cam 96 already is a step ahead of the 88, just in the fact that it has the 6-speed transmission. Now, whether you believe in that 6-speed transmission or not, that's totally up to you. It just depends what bike I'm on, and if you play with the gearing a little bit on these bikes, you can really kind of get them in that RPM range that you want to run in for your kind of riding, and depending on who you are, you may not even care about that 6th gear. Now, when it comes to the 96, you've already got a decent displacement there at 96 cubic inches. Everybody wants to take their 88 and make it a 95, which that is just done completely through bore. But with the Twin Cam 96, it actually has the longer stroke crank in it. So if you do want to go bigger with the 96, converting it to a 103 or a 110, that's just a drop-on top-end kit, because you've already got the stroke and the crank to go ahead and use just bore alone to get to a 103 or even a 110 if you want to go that big. And don't get me wrong, guys, a 96 with just a camshaft in it, they can get well north of 90 horsepower and close to 100 foot-pounds of torque just by a cam swap. Now, you take a cam swap and you take a 96, you put a little higher compression in it when you do your top-end kit for a little bit bigger bore, you're going to get well closer to 100 and well over 100 foot-pounds of torque. And then if you want to take it a little further, you can take your heads and get those done and make this bike into a really hot 103 or 110 pretty cheaply and easily just through drop-on kits. Now sadly, as many of you guys know, with the 96 you are locked into fuel injection. The only way that you could get, you could get a carbureted version of the 96, but you have to do it yourself. You're going to have to do the whole carburetor conversion and pull all your fuel injection equipment out and just go back with the carburetor manifold, and you're pretty much on your own with the single fire ignition, and you got to do that all by yourself. There are some kits out there that allow you to do that. So if you absolutely have to have a carburetor and you got a screaming deal on a 96, it can be done. So guys, if we start comparing a 2003 to 2006 twin cam 88 versus the twin cam 96, we're looking at a 5-speed on the 88 where we get a 6-speed on the 96. Obviously we have an 88-inch displacement, we have a 96-inch displacement. 2003 and newer, they have the press crank, they have the roller bearing bottom end, you no longer have the Timken bottom end. That's the same thing with the 88, and that's the same thing with the 96. So even on the 96, if you want a Timken bottom end, you're going to have to convert that over just as you would with the 88. Now the 96 does command a little bit more money, but that may be worth your while, depending on what you want to do with this bike. Do you just want to get on it and ride it, or do you not mind putting a little bit more money into it to make it right? Because with that 88, definitely going to have to upgrade that cam chest. The 96, you pretty much just get on it and go. Now the one thing I will say about the 96 is they did have some compensator issues. They always had those. They had a weak compensator in them, but you have some options out there, and you can completely go in and eliminate that with the Dark Horse compensator eliminator with the Cush drive in it, which in my opinion, that's the way to go. They're about $500, so if you can swing a couple extra $100 over, like say the Screamin Eagle piece, I would do it. I would highly recommend it, especially with the Cush drive, because that Cush drive in there, that is completely rebuildable. And not only that, the Dark Horse compensator eliminator, this is just pretty much a straight up gear with a cushion in it. You don't have all the springs and ramps and all the mechanical nonsense in there that busts and breaks with the compensators. So guys, 96 really is a great bike. I really like these, especially if you're looking for fuel injection. I personally like the 07 because the availability of tuners, and also you don't have as much trouble getting the cam that you want to put in the bike. You don't have to make a sacrifice because of a conversion cam, and you don't have to find out exactly what's in the motor like you do with an 88. And honestly, buying a 96 can save you some money in the long run. I'll definitely save you some downtime, even if you're doing the work yourself. You don't have to pull the bike completely down and buy a bunch of extra parts, or at least even to get in there and figure out what you got. You can pretty much guarantee what you have in there. Unless the bike's got somewhere around 40 to 50,000 miles, then I wouldn't really worry about opening up that cam chest. If it's got 40 to 50,000 miles on it, yeah, it's definitely probably time to look in there on those tensioner pads. That I wouldn't trust. Even though I have seen and heard even though I have seen bikes go well past 50,000 miles and never have an issue, still I would want to check that out. Do some comparison shopping. Go back and watch this video on the 88 and see what all needs to be done to an 88 to really get it up to snuff where you're not going to have to worry about it. Add that cost in to the cost of buying an 88 versus just going and getting you a 96. Now, of course, if you want a carburetor, like I say, you can convert the 96 or you can buy the 88. That's really kind of up to you. But just make sure you do some comparison cost before you put down your hard-earned money. But anyhow, guys, it's been great to see everybody again. I'm happy to be back. Once again, I apologize for the lighting. I'll get this sorted out here. But guys, it's great to see everybody again. I'm happy to be back making videos. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But guys, that's all I've got for you this week. Until next week, you guys stay safe, ride smart, dodge those cars, and I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.